Welcome along to week 14 of the Potteries Fly Tying Club beginners lessons. This week we're going to be tying a cat's whisker boobie pattern. The boobies are a pattern I don't fish very often. I do believe they are very good on the day. A lot of the reservoir lads swear by them. It's not a pattern I particularly enjoy to fish or to tie, really, to be honest. But we're starting off, we're going to use some Vineyard boobie eyes, medium 7mm yellow. Now the way to prepare these, cut that down into about a 20mm long cylinder and then round off the ends a little bit so they look a bit more like that, so they're more rounded both ends. Okay, in the hook I've got a partridge of Radix D4A Y streamer hook, size 10, and I'm going to be using some uni thread 8/0 in white. Okay, so we start off at the eye. This is quite a big pattern. Start off at the eye, just build a little thread base. Okay, nip that end off. And we leave that hanging just at the eye. And what we're going to do is we're going to put the buoy foam on the top so that the thread's roughly in the middle of the foam, and then we're going to wrap over the top of that and pull it down. It will obviously try to rotate around the thread. As you pull it around a couple of times, you can start to let those eyes turn. Okay, and then you want to go over in a few figure of eights until those eyes are well secured. Okay, you do need a bit of tension on occasionally just to keep those eyes in place. See, they've just let the tension off then, and that slipped onto the bottom of the hook. So just a few figure of eights around. Okay, and once they're secured, you can work your way down to the tail. Okay, now this part now is just basically a standard cat's whisker. All I'm going to do, I've just got some Cooksil white marabou here. The way to prepare marabou, if you just hold it, strip about 1 inch off the stem. Okay, and then flatten it so that you've got these ends here. Just snip those curly ends off. Okay, and then what you want to do to avoid building too much bulk, you want to pull out some of these fibres here so that you're getting just the actual stems of the feather. Okay, tie that in at the tail position. Okay, and then you want to snap. You never cut marabou, so you want to snap that off maybe 1 inch. So the way you do it, you pinch it between your finger and thumb, and then you just tear it off. Okay, and we want some worm chenille, some really fine worm chenille. Not sure what brand this is, but this is some bright green worm chenille. And all we're going to do is just tie that in down the body. If you want to reduce the width, you can strip the outer cover off the worm chenille, and then that will let you just limit the width of that body. So tie that in down towards the tail. Okay, and just wrap that up the body. So you get to just behind the eyes. Okay, and tie that off. Oops, the eyes are still a little bit loose, but that will be okay because I can correct that when I just pull the wing over the top in a minute. Okay, so another bunch of marabou. Prepare them much the same way, exactly the same way. When you tie this one, you want to tie it in just a little bit further back so you've got a little stalk there in front. Okay, so that's your wing. to do is just take your thread to the front of the hook and just pull. Marabou always works and behaves better if you wet it as well, so pull this through the eyes, okay, and then tie that off. That's not going to go. So what we'll do is we'll come back a little bit and we'll just tie that in a little bit further down. Again, just wetting the end so it just behaves a little bit better. I'm just going to tie that in with just a little bit more sticking through this time, so it just gives me a little bit to work with. Okay, 2 and 3 turns. Bring that to the front. Okay. Pull that over the top and through the eyes. And then you want to tie that down towards the eye of the hook. Okay, snip, tie that off at the same sort of length as the other part of your wing. You need to tidy up this front bit here a little bit. Careful obviously not to snip your thread. Okay, and then just whip finish just in front of the eyes there. What I do is I turn the fly upside down. Now just pop a little spot of resin on the bottom. Just put a tiny little bit of resin just underneath, just to make sure those eyes don't move anymore. A little bit of UV resin into that hole there. Be careful not to get it in the eye of the hook. Okay, it's the Gulf Thin Man resin I quite like to use. Just give that a quick blast with the torch just to set it. And you can see the UV, sort of how it would set off the colour under the water when the UV light is shining through from the sunlight. Okay, so that there is the Boobie.